What are some proper spear gun etiquette that every new spearo should know? Well, bottom line, you are now diving with a firearm and something designed to kill. If you're not careful and don't follow proper etiquette, you can very easily harm or fatally wound yourself or others. But before we dive into our basic spear gun etiquette, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Larry from Channel Island Scuba. Whether you're thinking about starting your open water course or you're an experienced diver just looking to level up your knowledge base, we are a community of divers asking the same questions that you are, and hopefully we're finding the answers all together. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for checking us out. And a very special thank you to all of our returning divers. If the information we discuss on this video is of value, please like the video, and if you want some more, subscribe to our channel. It really does go a long way for other divers to find us, so we can hopefully add some value to their dives as well. Great. With that, let's dive back into our main topic of spear gun safety. So you've decided to move beyond being a tourist to becoming the apex predator of our ocean. There is a lot of pride, but also a lot of responsibility in taking on this new skill set. This is a hobby that no matter how long you're in, you are never going to stop learning. Having worked on dive boats for a long time myself, there are things that people in the industry are going to see to tell us how experienced you are or not. Here are some tips for you to look like you have more experience than you might have, and to keep you from getting chewed out on the dive boat. Now, first off, you are taking a firearm underwater. These are killing machines. And if you do your job right, it is going to kill anything that you have it pointed at. So you need to be extremely cautious and make sure you're never pointing it at anyone or anything that you do not intend to kill. Be hyper aware of where your tip is in relation to your body and any other bodies nearby. A common thing I see is people accidentally kicking their own spear tip, which, by the way, I definitely did while I was learning. I've got a pretty good scar on my ankle from it. Now, another thing I encourage all new hunters to do is to make sure that your safety is on right up until you've got your target in sight. A lot of people don't do this for fear of forgetting. You go to pull the trigger and nothing happens. And look, this is all well and good once you have some experience under your belt. As a new hunter, I recommend taking that extra little precaution until you've got a lot of practice in. Now let's hit some etiquette for when you're out of the water. I've seen more people get hurt on dive boats than in the water, so we need to continue to be extremely cautious when we're back up on the boat or on shore. Spear tips should always have a cover on them when you're storing it. And if you're going to store it in a communal tank, make sure you're storing it spear tip down. The absolute most important rule when you have your gun out of the water is never, ever, ever, never, ever load the bands onto the spear. Don't even practice pulling them. Don't measure the bands. If you accidentally or intentionally load it and it goes off, very, very bad things are going to happen. Even if you're at home, don't try and load them dry. And definitely don't try and shoot them dry. A lot of people have gotten themselves hurt trying to see what would happen if they shot it in their backyard. So stay away from doing that kind of stuff. Next up, let's talk about local laws and regulations. There are a lot of different laws around fishing and spearfishing. In rod and reel fishing, you have the opportunity to pull out a reference book and check to see if what you caught is actually legal. If not, you just throw it back. No harm done. In spearfishing, once you've pulled the trigger, you have killed whatever you've shot. And if that fish was illegal, you have broken the law. You need to be hyper aware of exactly what fish you're going for and what the laws are around that specific fish. To me, most importantly, you need to know how to identify that fish. For that reason, I suggest planning on targeting 1, maybe 2 fish for the day, at least while you're starting off. This way you can learn everything there is to know about that specific fish, all the little ins and outs, instead of trying to memorize all the fish in the local area. If you're local to us here in the Channel Islands, I recommend starting off with sheepshead and calicos. Pretty easy to recognize, and the laws are pretty easy to memorize as well. Now, there are some fish that, while they're perfectly legal to shoot, they are considered taboo to the local community. For example, here in Channel Islands, a female sheepshead is perfectly legal to shoot if it's of the legal size, but it's considered taboo to shoot females. Males are going to be bigger, they taste better anyway, but females in the life cycle, they go from female to male, they actually will grow into becoming a male. And if you shoot a female, it hasn't had the opportunity to go through its full life cycle and reproduce. So for that reason, we consider them taboo, so we can make sure we're keeping their population good for us in the future. Now, it's also a good idea to know what fish are highly illegal to shoot. For example, Southern California as a whole, we have giant sea bass, an endangered fish that if you were to shoot would not only be a felony, but it would come with a minimum $10,000 fine. I don't want to be paying that. So make sure you know all of the other fish as well that are going to be illegal to shoot. So I can't speak for everywhere, but locally, Fish and Wildlife are very present on every beach, and they often board dive boats. So you make sure you have your fishing license and all appropriate fees, such as locally the Saltwater Ocean Enhancement. Of course, check your own local regulations ahead of time. And finally, make sure you can actually carry a spear gun if you're going to be on scuba. There are many parts of the world where it's illegal to carry a spear gun while on scuba. You have to be doing breath hold diving. If you're local here in California, we are not one of those locations. You can actually hunt on scuba here locally. So, as a spear fisherman, you are now an active part of the ocean environment. This is going to come with a lot of responsibility, but it also comes with an immense amount of joy and pride. This is the most sustainable and respectable way of catching seafood, with the least amount of bycatch practically being zero, and it avoids adding more fishing line to polluting our oceans. I welcome you to the Spearo community. I commend you for taking your first steps. And if you've made it this far into our video, I know for a fact you're going to be one of the good ones. So to finish us off, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're new to spearfishing, please give us a shout out. And if you're an experienced Spearo, what tips and tricks do you think I missed? As always, I try my best to respond to all of your comments. If you want to support the things that we're doing here at the channel, we've got a web store with all sorts of things like various spearfishing equipment. I'm going to drop a link in the comments or in the description down below for you. Once again, I'm Larry from Channel Island Scuba. Thank you guys so much for watching. Safe and happy diving.